G'day guys, and today Shorty and I are going to do the review of the Geelong and Hawthorn game, which is at the MCG on the Saturday night. Wasn't quite our best performance on the park this year. It was
Not the second half.
It was a tale of two halves, so it wasn't pretty disappointing finish, I must say. The Hawks got home in the end by 23 points, and we were both watching on for the fourth time ever. A live Cats game,
Yeah, it's ironic, isn't it?
Yeah, unbelievable. Yep.
Yeah.
Finally getting some more vision of the Catters, and wasn't quite what we were after. How did you see the game, mate?
Well, the second half was it? The first half was great though. We took the game on, had 100 more touches. It was almost as if they went, "We're going to try this since we're more than likely playing them in a final," and
for sure,
just threw caution to the wind, and we just took it on like no other game. I mean, the handball was back in vain, and we just went for it.
You were loving it, weren't you?
I was, and it worked. I mean, kamikaze style doesn't always work, but you can kind of take that risk in that sort of match. And at half time, we were saying, this is good footy.
Yeah.
Obviously, coming into it, we were kind of like, well, a loss wouldn't be the worst thing.
And we're still happy with it.
Yeah, I'm not disappointed. The second half from the Hawks was fantastic, and they opened us up, which is, it's tough to get a read on it. Were we not switched on? Was the will to actually fight back once you're headed not quite there in a match that's virtually dead rubber?
Yeah.
They're all questions that we'll probably never know the answer to, but it is a tad of a worry that, they can just willy-nilly break us out of the middle so quickly, and we struggle to stop it. But overall, I think it was pretty positive, and we'll be looking 2 weeks ahead, I'd imagine. I mean, what were your thoughts on it? Like you said, tale of two halves.
Yeah, well, we were absolutely outstanding the first half. I really liked the way we went about it. And Luke Darcy, I love you, mate, but gee, he was saying the Hawks are going into damage control, 31 points down. It's like, what are you thinking, mate?
You didn't like that, did you?
No, if you've seen a Hawthorn and Geelong game in the last 10 years, one of these two sides will get off to a great start, get 5 goals ahead, then it just comes back to a close game. It's happened every time, and it's going to continue to happen for a fair while, I think. But yeah, back to us anyway. Bit of a dead rubber game for, well, I guess both sides, and I think Hawthorn, just wanted to assert themselves. As you said before, whether we know the answer to those questions before, not really sure. Proof will be in the pudding in a few weeks' time, but excellent first half. We were really happy with that. We actually won the clearances for once, which is good.
Yeah, that was good.
Couldn't believe that, I guess, yeah. We didn't really capitalise with all the disposal that we had. I felt we perhaps overused it at times, and there were also times where we couldn't hit targets. So
that's true.
5 metre handballs not hitting the targets. Even in the first half, slightly it was happening, and wasn't. I didn't really enjoy watching that, but Hawthorn were able to hit targets, and it was as simple as that. They transitioned from one end to the other so much more cleanly than we did, and that definitely showed in the second half where they kicked 10 goals in a row, which I don't know when that's happened to us in the last 8 years
10
or so.
goals is a massive amount.
Oh, it's huge, and that was really the turnaround in the game, quite simply there, because it wasn't a high-scoring game by any means. But yeah, at the moment, and I guess over the year, there's just been no cohesion between the midfield and the forwards. They're kicking it over their head, not kicking it into the space, and it's just frustrating. I mean, you guys train together 3-4 days a week, and you just kick it up high, and it just gets spoiled by Josh Gibson. It's a tale of the script. I don't understand how you can not identify that, but
it's a problem, isn't it? I mean, they just don't seem to be on the same page, but that kind of a flow-on effect from only having Big Tom Hawkins, maybe the main target up there, but we'll get to that later, I imagine. But I did think our spread was as good as it's been all year, actually.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Whether that was because of the immense amount of handballs that seemingly were out of the back of the pack, and you mentioned we won clearances, we sort of went to spread it out of the back with handball and work it forward with a clearing kick. But clearance is positive, contested ball positive.
Yeah, the numbers are good. I don't think the conversion wasn't, or Hawthorn's efficiency was a whole lot better, as it usually is.
And Lewis, you got to pay credit to him. Be the next Hawks captain. He was outstanding, and
fantastic.
The next generation Hawk was Will Langford. He probably came of age last night.
Yeah, probably one of his best games for the club.
Yeah.
So and also Hawthorn had their big targets inside 50. They had Hale taking a few big grabs, and Roughhead took an uncontested mark. And I think in the second half we just simply switched off. When that, obviously on the transition they really made us pay, and there was just loose players everywhere for the Hawks, and that's usually just because they're working harder and it's all mindset there. So a couple of things to probably think about, but I think they're maybe in the same mould as us. Couple of weeks time, that's when we'll make them really earn it. But
yeah, I mean, we don't want to just let them off the hook for a terrible second half, but I think, like you said, like us, we have one eye towards the qualifying final. So,
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we'll get stuck into the votes anyway, mate. Who did you give you 3, 2, and 1 to?
No worries, mate. Mitch Duncan was the standout cat for mine.
Excellent player.
37 touches, and he'd be doing quite well in our votes, I think. I mean,
he's smoky, isn't he?
I haven't looked at the overall for a while, but he'd be creeping right up there. And yeah, he was four-quarter effort, and he was fantastic, I think. So he got my 3. 2 votes I gave to Josh Caddy. I really love the way he goes about it. He had the 26 touches. I thought he started really well, and 15 contested, which I love that. I mean,
superstar.
Yeah, very important. That was the highest for the Cats as well. So he was very good, and gave 1 to Cam Guthrie. Mentioned last week that released him from the tag, and they did for the most part of the night. At times he was sort of minding Lewis and that at the stoppage, but you know, he had 33 touches. He's a beautiful user of the ball, and I think that's something they need to do. I mean, he looked great. So they were my votes. I mean, Christensen was really good too. Tom Lonergan was really good, and one guy who played his best match for a couple of years was Travis Varco.
Yes, yeah.
So great to see. I mean, I've ripped into him a few times on the show, so I hope that's not a once-off, because if he can play like that, then he's in our first 10 or 12 picked.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't, you can go to the VFL. So I hope we see more of that. But
good on you, mate.
How about your votes, mate?
I went with the 3 votes to Mitch Duncan. Absolute standout. The 37 disposals, 7 marks, and he also kicked a goal as well. Just full-quarter performance from this bloke, and just puts his hand up week in, week out to give a red-hot crack at it. And he does a great job. Potential future captain for the Catters, you reckon?
Yeah, I reckon. I mean, he's sort of in that age bracket, so Sal would be the captain for a while, you would think.
For a long time, you'd think.
He'll be up there and about, yeah.
Absolutely. All right, and we're giving the 2 votes to Cam Guthrie. He got the 33 disposals, and he always gives his best, and I don't think I've given him too many votes this year. I think this is almost a game where it's like, here you go, Cam, you've been doing well for the last few weeks, and I've been trying to squeeze you in there, but he's done well, and he gets the 2 for mine, so good on him. And 1 vote to Tommy Lonergan. Gee, I love this bloke. I love giving him votes.
Yeah.
I love giving him the 1 vote. And,
I would have loved to as well, but
just couldn't quite sneak him in. He got the 14 disposals and 7 marks, and he shut down Gunston, did a fantastic job. Kept in just the 1 goal, and Gunston probably a little bit injured still, and even more injured with the awkward landing on the Saturday night. But he's a great shutdown player and doesn't get much mention. So I thought I'll give him a bit of a mention. Good on you, Domsey. So
yeah, deservingly so.
We'll move on to your favourite segment, mate, the chopping block.
Yeah, the favourite.
Who have we got?
Well, Shane Kirsten, he's been on a few times, and well, the injury, the hamstring.
Thank goodness.
Yeah,
maybe.
It's a bit rough on him, but I think it'll be good for the Cats, believe it or not. He's been doing nothing, unfortunately, and I'm not sure of the extent of the injury, how bad it is, but you would have to think he'd miss next week.
Yeah.
And then that makes it tough to think about him in the future as well.
For finals and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, so Mitch Brown or Josh Walker, if you're looking into the press conferences late, it says Mitch Brown might be in front, but who knows with the Cats coaching staff sometimes.
It's could be media speak, you never know.
I don't even know who I prefer, to be honest. I mean, probably Josh Walker, but he's let us down in the past as well, so it's not ideal for the Cats, but they need someone to help out Hawkins, so that'll be interesting.
Definitely do, yeah.
Brad Hartman, he's not quite up to it either. I mean,
obviously, very sloppy.
Yeah, came in for Hall and Smith, and if Georgie Boy's right, then that'll be a straight swap. I've been hearing Steve Johnson's probably not quite right for this week. Stokesy on the Sunday Footy Show suggests that probably miss this week, but be right for finals, and that'd be a wise move. So
sounds good.
Yeah, but aside from that, Jordan Schroeder's been tearing it up in the 2s, as we've mentioned as well. I mean, what does this man have to do to get a game?
I know, he's put his hand up week in, week out, and he's not getting a go.
Yeah, so I mean, that from a actual match-up and ins and outs point of view is probably all there is to it as we close into the finals. But I want to ask you, mate, Harry Taylor, he drifts forward late in the match.
Yeah.
Looks good. He's got great hands. as we mentioned a minute ago, we need a second tall, and we talk about our defenders all the time, how good they are. Can he play forward? Not for a whole match. Maybe start there, maybe drift in and out. Could that be an option for the Cats?
Oh, absolutely, mate. And
Yeah.
Chris Scott likes talking about it. He doesn't like doing it, though. Even in the press conference, he openly admits it. And going into finals, we'll talk about it a lot. And we probably won't do anything about it either. So it's, what are you talking about then, mate? So
That was a strange thing to say.
yeah, we had a bit of a laugh at it, which is good. But, nah, absolutely. He is one of the best contested marks in the AFL, if not one of the best. The stats might not say he is, but when he goes up for a mark, he usually brings him down. So, and he's usually a pretty good kick. Had a few shots this year, hasn't quite got there, but it's taken him a bit longer to get some goals on the board. But obviously they want to keep the defence pretty comfortable there as well. But I reckon, drift him in and out, even keep him in there for a half. I think against a club like Sydney it wouldn't work, but against Fremantle, where they have just Padley just the key post there, maybe against Hawthorn, having Lonergan match up with maybe a Gunston or a Roughhead, and Rivers with either of those two guys, and just experiment with it. And he's a great, second poster Hawkins. If one of them doesn't play well, one might dominate. It takes away a key defender and makes them accountable for him. So I reckon it's a great move. What do you think?
Yeah, and spot on. It's horses for courses, I think. Blitzarves has shown that he can play defence as well.
Yeah,
so there's a potential option, but you wouldn't think it'd be a whole match sort of thing. Maybe 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, drift in and out. But I think Scotty's got to stop thinking about it and talking about it.
Absolutely.
And give it a crack, because I think we need it. I really think it's past tweaking and tinkering.
Yeah.
Put a gun there, help out Tommy Boy, and let's see what we can do, because finals are closing in. But
spot on, mate.
Yeah, it's a good option to have.
We'll move on to next week anyway. We've got the Brisbane Lions at Simmons Stadium, which will be on the Saturday night. Well, it's not really a dead rubber game, because we've sort of got to win it, because we don't want to play Sydney in Sydney or go even worse off. But if Hawthorn thrash Collingwood and Sydney miraculously lose to Richmond, it's not looking too good, because we've got to play Sydney in Sydney. So, it's going to be a big game. And Brisbane, one of those teams that aren't that great, but as you've said in the past, if you let them play well, they will, and they'll make you pay. And with some of the lapses we've had this year, can suggest that we can let teams like them back into games, and they should not be anywhere near a winning position than they somehow managed to. Brisbane can be one of those teams, and some of their players have been absolutely sensational. I think of Rockcliffe and Pierce Hanley. Zorko can really pop up as well. But I wouldn't think it'd be a huge margin in this. I think the Cats would rest a couple, not be too conservative, but a few players that could be sore, they'll definitely take the precautionary approach. And so I think we'll probably get the job done. I'd say it'd be 4 to 6 goals. I wouldn't think there'd be a whole lot in it. I don't think we'll go full pedal there. But what do you think, mate?
Yeah, we tend to not smash sides these days, do we?
That's right. Yeah,
it tends to be the way it goes. You would imagine that if we get off to a quality start with a great first half, then we'll just ease up and
you can see that happening.
Yeah, just sort of ease into finals. But if the results go the way they are expected, which you can't really say that on what this year has served up.
Absolutely not.
Then this is a dead rubber, but you got to play it like it's not. Of course.
Definitely.
I'm not sure when the Swans and Richmond play, whether it's at the same time, but we may well have an inkling of whether we're home and hosed for that final midway through the match or before the match. But we should get the job done. I mean, realistically, Brisbane have some good players, but we're a far better side than them, and should get the job done. And hopefully no injuries, and we should be right for finals, I'd hope. So it's exciting times.
Yeah, Scotty loves it. It's the exciting times.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he?
It's like, I'm really excited that we've lost to Hawthorn and that we can improve.
Mission accomplished it was. Well,
he was so happy with himself after the game. Yeah. He's never disappointed.
I mean, he often doesn't see the vision. Maybe he just didn't see a second half.
No, he must have just gone off for a cup of coffee, or I don't know. But, who knows with Scotty. But I love the bloke, but sometimes I think he can put his head in the sand a little bit too much and put a bit of mayo and everything. But I love the way he goes about it. Just got to if you're going to talk about it, do it. Just
Yeah.
so, especially with Harry Taylor. But
He's a positive bloke, that's for sure.
Never met anyone more positive in my life, to be honest.
Yeah.
Not that I've met him, but anyway. Yep, so those are some of the thoughts from Shorty and myself on the Hawthorn and Geelong game, with Hawthorn winning by 23 points. Bit of a tease for what could be the first round of the finals, qualifying final. And also, not to mention, my superstitious stat came into play.
The stat.
The stat. Geelong lost the second half, or the second last game of the season, so it gives them a bit of a smoky to maybe challenge to the flag. But we'll see. There's a lot to play out, and we've got to play 4 quarters first, which sounds like such a basic thing, but no, there's a long way to go.
Yeah.
So yeah, feel free to comment your thoughts on the game and like the video if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe to us as well, because yeah, we just love dishing out this content to you guys, and yeah, we'd love to have a bit of support as well. And my mate darijoe does the Geelong Goal video highlights each week, so I'll have the video to that in the description, so go and check that out and subscribe to him as well. And our Twitter links are in the description below as well, so feel free to follow us on that for some of the things we get up to. Not a heap on your front, mate, but
not really.
Sometimes I have a bit of a bitch on there, but it's all good fun. But thanks heaps for sticking around, guys, and we'll see you all soon.